language, NAHREP, and used by consumers and HUD housing counselors across the U.S. She appears regularly on locally and nationally in English and Spanish media regarding housing issues. She's a highly respected advocate for housing and has been invited to meetings, where else? In D.C. with the U.S. Treasury, HUD, the Department of Agriculture, Labor and Defense, and high-level staff, yes, at the White House. She's appointed to the CFPB, Consumer Advocacy Board, wow, and served under 2 administrations. I'd like to find out more about that. Sylvia has 2 children and 2 grandchildren, and apparently there's a husband in there somewhere, because how do you get 2 children and grandchildren? Philip's with her tonight, so if Sylvia is here, and I know she is, there she is, come on up here and receive your much deserved award. No, she's not going to cry. No crying. There's no crying in induction ceremonies. Ask anybody who was here the night I got inducted. I was fine until I saw my parents and then the waterworks.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you especially to the Jefferson High School alumni and the Hall of Fame committee for this great honor. It's going to be difficult not to cry. So, I have received several recognitions in my life, but none more special or that mean more than this. When Jean Carroll left a message to call her regarding the Hall of Fame, I wondered why she was calling me. I thought for sure maybe I was a reference for somebody else. I'm just Evita from the barrio, you know, and never imagined that it was for me. This was very, very special. Special because of the memories, the friends, and the lifelong relationships I made at the school, at the old Jefferson, 1 block off of Columbus Drive.
Microphone.
Going to Jefferson High School, especially the old Jefferson, is an experience that cannot be explained in words, but only felt in your heart. Those of you who attended know that. I see the heads nodding. That was a time of true innocence. Most of us came from poor families, but we didn't know it because we were rich in love and in a colorful and passionate culture. I am proud to say that I'm from the very special class of '66. Also known as the Fiddler Crab class. You know, back in the day, we did things that were mischievous. And in that particular year, a bunch of the guys decided that they were going to go to the causeway and load up their gym bags with fiddler crabs. And the next day we were having an auditorium meeting where sheriffs were bringing in convicts, and they were going to talk to us and tell us, you know, do good, you know, avoid getting into trouble or you're going to end like us. So I can still see it like it was yesterday. I remember it was about 3 rows in front of me. Over here, a girl stood up and she screamed. And then I could hear her scream somewhere else. And then up in the balcony, somebody else was screaming. So screams were coming from everywhere, and everybody started running. We didn't know why, but we were all running and trampling over each other. How many were here? Remember it? Yeah. Do you remember how bad the school smelled for weeks after? We were finding fiddler crabs everywhere. So anyway, that was a very special memory that I will never forget. Also, something else that I remember today, and that was Henry Bavada, the custodian. I don't know if anyone remembers him, but he was special. He would actually open up the storage room for the boys to go in and get toilet paper, so they could go in toilet paper houses. And you know, your house got TP'd, right? Once your house got TP'd, it was, yes, okay, I mean, this is good. So anyway, I thought about him. And you know, one thing about Henry is that he grew orchids, beautiful orchids. And a lot of the boys didn't have the money to to pay for a corsage for their dates, for the prom, for the homecoming, and he would give them the organs. So it was just so many great memories at Thomas Jefferson High School. And it also was the class where we lost our accreditation. And that was making it difficult for students to go to college. That was their goal. So we learned this faith at an assembly in the auditorium. And that was the year that the government wanted to say that we were substandard, not up to par with the other high schools. That was the time that we marched from the school down to downtown, chanting things like, what do we want? Credit. When do we want it? Now. And my favorite one that I thought of was, if we don't get credit, Farnell will regret it. I thought that Farnell was the superintendent of schools at that time. And some of you may remember there was a big bell on the Army Navy store. I think it was in Florida Island or Tampa, I'm not sure. But when we went by that bell, I jumped up on it and I started ringing. And it was like, I thought I was Paul Revere or something. And the students all got charged up. The people who were in the store came out, they were cheering us on. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful time. I liken our life back then to the TV show Happy Days. But time marched on, and the train of life kept moving down the tracks. And we all went our separate ways, and we all bloomed in different places. I bloomed in the housing industry, and I'm the executive director of the Housing and Education Alliance, a PBS award-winning, HUD-certified housing counseling agency. We won the PBS award because during the housing crisis, I had to give our staff the bad news that we were going to have to close because there was no money to pay them anymore. So my husband and I come back the next day, and all the cars are in the parking lot. And we walk in, and it's business as usual. People are at the copy machines, talking to people on the phones. And I reach out and I yell out with the cubicles, did you not hear me? I don't have the money to pay you anymore. So one person stands up and says, you don't have money to pay me, I guess I'm a volunteer. And then the next person, and the next, and the next, until all 14 staff. Until all 14 staff members decided that they would become volunteers. During those terrible years, we went, some of us, 3.5 years without very little pay. And we knew what our clients were going through. We were able to help thousands of Tampa Bay families, but we couldn't help ourselves. Because the one thing that we could not do is help someone stay in their home and avoid foreclosure if they had zero income. We didn't even have unemployment. So we all lost our homes. But I have to tell you that during that time, we really learned what was important. And that was the reason that we won the PBS Nonprofit of the Year Award. Because of our efforts, we saved 14,000 Tampa Bay area family homes. People have asked me, why do I do what I do? And I truly believe it goes back to when I was 9 years old and helped my parents purchase their first home on North B Street. They immigrated from Cuba, and after working hard for 9 years, they finally had the money that they needed to purchase that first house, but they couldn't speak the language. So I became the translator for them between the banker, the builder, the realtor, and it was then that I realized how important this event was for them, how it changed their life, to be able to say they owned a piece of America. Seeing their joy, I guess I struck a nerve in me because I carried this into adulthood. I feel it is my responsibility to do what I can to keep the American dream of homeownership alive. My agency has helped 14,000 Tampa Bay area families avoid foreclosure and stay in their homes since the housing crisis of 2008. 24,000 have improved their credit and learned the importance of budgeting. 12,000 first-time home buyers purchased their first home with our help, securing funds for down payment and closing costs. Has it been an easy road? No, not always. Life is like a storm, my friends. You're basking in the sunlight one moment and shattered on the rocks the next. But it's what you do when those bad days come. It gives you the opportunity to become the person you have the ability to become. I attribute my servant leadership style to the upbringing from my parents and the many life lessons I learned at Jefferson. Like the old alma mater says, there never was a high school just like you. Truer words were never spoken. I would like to close because I brought up somebody to take part in this today that could not be here. And that is the girl who nominated me for this award, Sandra Fernandez. She is in the hospital right now. She had a stroke last Saturday. So if you could give her a warm round of applause.